Hello and welcome back to movie Euphoria. It's a beautiful evening in Doha and we are sitting at the famous Godiva Cafe. I saw a movie last night and after I've seen it, I've been only craving chocolates. Well, but it's not just me. There is somebody else who shares the same feelings. It gives me immense pleasure to invite the famous YouTuber from Toys Daily. So welcome to movie Euphoria. Welcome to our video. Hope you're doing good.
Yes, I'm doing very good.
Now, without wasting any time, we want to just ask you a question straight. Ever since we saw the movie last night, are you craving chocolates as much as I am?
Well, if having 3 waffles every day counts, absolutely.
So guys, we saw Wonka last night and we've only been thinking and craving chocolates. Well, you got it right. The movie we are going to talk about today is Wonka. Wonka is a musical fantasy film written and directed by Paul King. He's a British writer and director and has previously directed some of the other famous movies like Paddington. Wonka is inspired from the 1964 Rod Dahl novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The story takes us to the origin of how Willy Wonka became famous and got to be known as one of the world famous chocolatiers. Well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is already a very famous movie. It was released in 2005, was a huge hit and starred Johnny Depp in the lead role. We must also tell you that there are several versions of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that are available. The first one was called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It released in 1971. Then came the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, followed by Tom and Jerry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in 2017, and the latest addition to this is Wonka. Moving now to Wonka. Wonka can be called as a prelude to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It is a reimagination of how Willy Wonka became so famous from the point of view of the director Paul King. So now let's quickly start with what we think about the story. So I would like to ask you, one of the reasons why we invited you is also because if we look at Wonka, it's primarily, targeting the young audiences. And while our perspective is important, it's extremely important to know what does the younger lot feel about Wonka. So what did you think about the movie?
For me, Wonka was quite good, and for me it was a literal comeback for those cinemas like in Disney we used to watch, and it was a great time for watching with your friends and family in winter.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to ask you is, I know you love to read, and you've I think read most of the story and novels by Rod Dahl. So from that point of view, and you've also read the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So I want to know, how do you think the movie did in terms of the story?
So, well, the answer to this is, I think that not only this could be the background story, but there could be so many background stories. Though in the 2005 Wonka, where Johnny Depp acted, there were some secrets that I think if you deeply analyzed could be revealed, that could reveal quite much of his origin story. I don't think the latest Wonka completely matches all those and ticks all the boxes.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you, and I think there's a brilliant insight there that yes, there could be so many ways of telling. I personally, however, felt that with Wonka, the director and the story writers had such a huge subject in hand, and also it was a fantasy story. So there are so many more plots that could have been explored. It could have been probably told at a multi-layer. Like for example, I found it a bit flat in places. If you particularly remember the last scene when they get stuck inside the chocolate fountain and they're about to die, the moment we're getting interested and we're getting excited about what's going to happen, we feel the thrill, but the moment you sort of reach there, it's killed because the problem is solved so simply. So I felt it could have been more engaging in that respect, but yes, that is what I would say. Let us move now to the actors. Timmy plays Wonka, Hugh Grant plays Oompa Loompa, Ron Atkinson, or our lovable Mr. Beans, plays the priest, and young Carla Lane plays Noodle. And then there are, of course, several other actors, all brilliant. So, who was your favorite actor or character in the movie?
I will be happy to answer. Timothy Chalamet in everything.
How about Hugh Grant? I particularly liked him a lot. I mean, called me coming from the old school, but I thought he was brilliant too, especially in as Oompa Loompa, and the full thing, you know, where we see a mini-sized Hugh Grant was very interesting.
So, first of all, about Hugh Grant, I have to say something. They totally did not need Hugh Grant. There would be no difference between Hugh Grant and just an AI model. It was exactly the same. Now, about Mr. Bean, he has been loved by younger audience, little children, for such a long time.
I also felt that, you know, he had a very little, more like a special role. And when we saw, you know, the trailers, I probably thought he would have a huge role to play, but, you know, it was unfortunate we couldn't see much of him in the movie. But the good news is that, you know, what I heard in 2025, his largely, you know, appreciated the animated series is returning back. It's with its season 4. So, you know, hopefully we'll get to see him there. Let's move now to, you know, another very important question I want to ask you. The music.
It is a musical. Of course, it has a ton of songs. And my favorite song was the Oompa Loompa theme music.
Yes, undoubtedly the best song, and I think we should make our viewers listen to it. Probably a glimpse, yeah? What do you say? Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I want to hear that.
Too late. I've started dancing now. Once we've started, we can't stop, see?
Oompa Loompa Doompa-dee-doo, I've got a tragic tale for you.
So this is what we thought of Wonka. And before we leave, I would ask you to tell our viewers in 2 lines, what do you think about the movie overall, and do you recommend it to them?
Well, for you, they don't lie when they say a world of pure imagination. It is really fantasy-like, and if you ask me, I would suggest you and your little ones to definitely watch this movie.
So before we finally say bye, there's one last question that I would like to ask you. And the question is that you've read most of the books of Rod Dahl, as you know, I mentioned earlier. Is there any other book you think has the potential of being converted into a movie? And if yes, then which one would you say?
Well, yes, I have lately read this book, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. I suggest to read it. It's really interesting. It's like a part 2 of Willy Wonka's full historical story. Chocolate being exported to Mars, Willy Wonka getting rich and famous. Definitely, I suggest.
Perfect. I think that's a lovely one, and that could be made into a very, very interesting movie. So in the end, thank you so much for joining us. It was lovely to have your views, and I'm sure our viewers would appreciate views coming from you. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for joining in today. We'll see you soon in the next one.